Good morning. Today we will study about the theories of development. Every living species, whether virus, bacterium, plant, or animal, has the innate capacity to give rise to similar new individual to balance the loss as a consequence of adverse environmental condition or aging. And all the cells are arise from pre-existing cells. There is no other way for a cell to be produced unless scientists succeed in synthesizing cell from a simple molecule in laboratory. Thus, reproduction in organism denotes formation of new individuals, which essentially resembles the parents. The entire chain of developmental events and changes in an animal is referred as development. A multicellular organism develops from a single cell, the zygote, into a collection of many different cell types organized into tissue and organs. Development involves all division, body axis formation, tissue and organ development, and cell differentiation. During development, cells use both intrinsic or inherited information and extrinsic signals from neighbors to decide on their behavior and identity. Cells usually become more and more restricted in their developmental potential, the cell types they can produce as development. So, we uh, we see that how an animal grows. As an embryo develops, its cells divide, grow, and migrate in specific patterns to make a more and more elaborate body. To function correctly, that body needs well defined axes, such as head versus tail. It also needs a specific collection of many celled organs and other structures positioned in the right spots along the axis and connected up with one another in the right ways. The cells of organism's body must also specialize into many functionally different types. As development goes on, our body contains a wide array of different cell types from neurons to liver cells to blood cells. Each one of these cells type is found only in certain parts of the body, in certain tissues of certain organs where its function needed. In this chapter, we will study about two main theories of development. First one is the pre-formation theory and the second one is the epigenesis theory. Before this, we can explain the developmental events uh, which can easily be followed in sexual reproduction and life cycle of higher animals. Further, the entire life cycle of a higher form can be divided into two phases, like prenatal period and postnatal period, that is period before and after birth respectively. Like these two theories, many other theories are given by the scientists. Uh, the which are the theory of germ layers, the theory of recapitulation, Bayer's law. But in this lecture, we will discuss in these two theories. First, pre-formation theories. In 17th century, the Dutch scientist Swammerdam studies development of insect and suggested that development of an organism is a simple enlargement of a minute but performed individuals. This preformed individuals was called homunculus and could be present in the sperm or in the ovum. Workers who attach more importance to the ovum were ovists. In this context, Malpighi, Haller, Bonnet, Spallanzani, etc. gave the opinion that this miniature form was present in the ovum or egg, which is stimulated for growth by the sperm. In contrast, Leeuwenhoek said that instead of the ovum, the miniature form is located in the head of the sperm. They called the hypothetical miniature form as the uh, homunculus. Other workers like Leeuwenhoek, who attached more importance to sperm, they were called animalculists, and they insisted that a miniature but complete organism was present in the sperm. Soon it was realized that pre-formation theory could not be accepted. One of the most important objections was that homunculus was later found to be the creation of imagination of earlier worker and could never be observed in the subsequent studies. Now, the theory of epigenesis. The above described improbable theory of pre-formation was opposed by Wolff. On the basis of this study on the developing embryo of the chick, he proved that the development of the embryo takes place as a result of successive progressive formation of new organs, and hence organs are never preformed. The successive formation of new organs was referred to as epigenesis. Such, however, was not the case, and now we know that although the organism is not preformed, but its characteristics are predetermined by the sperm and ovum taking part in the fertilization. Such an idea was called the theory of epigenesis. Dutch microscopist Anton von Leeuwenhoek, one of the first to observe spermatozoa, he described the spermatozoa of about 30 species and thought he saw the semen, all manner of great and small vessels, so various and so numerous that I do not doubt that they be never nerves, arteries, and veins. And when I saw them, I felt convinced that in no full grown body are there any vessels which may not be found likewise in the sperm. In 19th century, scientists later confirmed the theory of epigenesis. Apart from this, the theory of germ layer was given by the Spallanzani, and in the ancient period, the ancient thoughts were given, and reproduction and embryonic development have been subject of human interest from the very early times. So, after establishment of cell theory during the 19th century, therefore, history of embryology is generally studied in two steps: the ancient period and the modern period. And these two theories are from the modern period. So, this is all about my today's lecture. Thank you so much.